now for something completely different.
Forget everything you've been told by others before. Get ready for the real deal. The full story. Real talk about money, markets, life. Now, it's The Real Investment Show, presented by RIA Advisors.
It's Friday again. Welcome to Financial Fitness Friday. I'm Rich Russell, and I'm here with Lance Roberts, because I'm old man in the bed man. Oh no, it's Stanley Ratliff, CFP. I don't have any idea whose voice that is. But.
Yeah, I think everybody else is trying to figure that out too. I know what you're alluding to.
What do you mean, Lance? The market's sort of flat this morning. Dow futures up 8, S&P 5, NASDAQ futures up 47. Pretty quiet today, although we will see the release of U.S. inflation data. Annual revisions to the Consumer Price Index. So last year was significant enough to cause some doubt to the overall inflation fight. So that will be interesting. Let's see. Seems that the Fed's rate of change is headed in the right direction, Danny. Even though, of course, we're still dealing with the big bucket of inflation. I just saw what my auto insurance premiums are at this year. I had to sit down for a minute. I was like, what? Yeah, that inflation's really under control, isn't it?
They're going to push you to a walkable city.
Is that, oh,
yeah.
Is that what it is?
Oh, yeah. It's a common theme.
The walkable city. If you get rid of your car, everything will be fine. Man, I'm telling you, just something else. So I think it's ridiculous, and we've been saying this, I think, since early this year, although this feels like it's already like, I don't know, November. It's like this year is like, moving on. Let's get on to the next year based on already. As I posted something on Facebook today. It's like, oh my gosh, this year is so long. It's just February. But I think it's ridiculous. Frankly, I don't know any other word for it, that the market believes that the Fed needs to lower rates. Right? I mean, they should be coveting those rates. Like, who's that dude in Lord of the Rings, the creepy dude? My precious. Like, why do I need to release these? Why do I need to lower rates? I don't have any reason at all to lower rates, especially in March. I did not think Powell's commentary on 60 Minutes was that hawkish. It's just that he's being prudent and he's holding them close to the vest. Why? Because except for the fact that the market is addicted, like a little girl, I want my doll. Why do we need to lower rates?
No, we don't. But the market has implied or has thought for however long, months now, that, hey, March is going to happen, and then we're going to have 5 or 6 cuts this year. Mm-hmm. And Jerome Powell has never come out and said that, which is what's really interesting. Because
that is true.
Everybody says, follow the Fed, follow the Fed. Well, he has, and listen, I get it. It's very difficult to take him at face value because he has said, hey, inflation's transitory until it's not, and then goes on the fastest rate hiking campaign he's been on, or the Fed has ever been on. But he has been very adamant that we're not cutting right now. And there's been no economic data to suggest that he should.
Correct.
So, that 3, maybe 4 is probably much more in line with what's actually going on. And the interesting thing is, if you look at most of these big banks or the people that have been calling for more rate cuts, what's their outlook been on the economy?
Well, J.P. Morgan, Jamie Dimon's always concerned. I mean, he's been predicting a recession for what?
Yeah, I mean, we've had that for a while,
mean,
which is
not
interesting because...
Not that he's impractical. I mean, I think he's a smart dude, but he's definitely been...
He's been on the
more
little
on
bit more
the
bearish side of the camp
of things, yeah,
than usual, especially for a big institution like J.P. Morgan.
Exactly.
But if you think about, most of these guys are still bullish. or have changed their tune to be bullish.
Right.
Well, I think you're going to need some type of accommodative economic policy. But right now, there's nothing that would suggest that the Fed needs to cut. And if that were the case, that probably would not be very bullish.
Right. Right. If there's a break in the labor force somewhere, if their numbers start to, and again, we've been seeing consistently layoffs, mostly in the tech area, but we have seen UPS and so forth. But I think labor is the all determining factor and where it goes, and unit labor costs. We saw that these costs they were a little heated last time around. TK goes, Walter Brennan voice. That's what it was. Dag nabbit. The YouTube channel is alive and well. They said, look, I think Ed Miranda said, Jerry Lewis, when he used to go, lady, hey, lady. Remember that? Danny doesn't remember.
Oh, I know it, though.
Yep. So, yeah, I don't know. It's, the market is, I say enjoy the ride. That's what I've been telling all the clients that I talk to. Enjoy the ride. Understand the water changes. Storm clouds roll in. We don't know exactly what the catalyst is. I still think it's the Fed. I also think that geopolitical risk is high. But the numbers sort of chug along. Now, I guess the revision to the inflation numbers, we'll see how that drives markets today. But we pretty much know what this market's focused on. And to press the Fed, what I do like about Powell, and I very rarely say that about a Fed chair, is he's like, listen, there's no reason to lower rates. We have to be disciplined with how we do it. I think Janet Yellen would have done it already.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. You say that, but there's been plenty of opportunity for her to do things in the past that she never did. So
only if it's
I'm not
increasing
real
rates. Lowering rates, she's real good at.
Yeah. That is true.
But he seems more steadfast. Like, the narrative seems sort of predictable, even though it's not what the market wants. And then we had that one day, it was a derail, and then we were right back off to the races again, right?
Yeah. But I think there is concern. I mean, we still look at market breadth. It is relatively poor.
It is.
Still with that, what is it, the Sexy Six now versus the Magnificent Seven?
Yeah.
Or now, I guess somebody the other day was like, well, they just added Eli Lilly and took out Tesla. I was like, well, genius. But it's still that same type of narrative, and I think that does cause a little bit of concern in the future as far as how markets are going to perform.
You may have to change the name of the Magnificent Seven to the Sexy Seven, because if you got Lily in there, that means you're losing some weight and you're looking good.
Oh, okay. Now you're thinking.
But to your point, the breadth, look at the performance of the RSP, the equal weight index, compared to the S&P 500, right? I'm not saying that the move is illegitimate. It's a valid move. A move is a move. You take it, right?
Yeah.
You can't argue. Like, people will stomp their feet and go, I think the market should be. Well, it doesn't matter what you think.
But you also have to think of how long have we been trading sideways? So have you burned some excess off?
Yeah. That's true. Since when? Over 2 years ago.
2.5 years.
Uh-huh. Be right back, everyone.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Nothing sinks a marriage quicker than money issues. This Valentine's Day, promise you'll respect your lover's credit, communicate about your money, and share together our first candid coffee for 2024. 5 Money Habits of Unhappy Couples. Saturday, February 24th. Richard Rosso and Danny Ratliff will have money tips to help revive your financial harmony. Register now at realinvestmentadvice.com. 5 Money Habits of Unhappy Couples. Candid Coffee with Ratliff and Rosso. realinvestmentadvice.com.
When it comes to wealth management, most people think of stocks and bonds, but it's like enjoying one layer in a 7-layer cake. At RIA Advisors, we want to make sure you get your cake and eat it too. Social Security, Medicare, creating a tax-friendly retirement paycheck. Perhaps you're saving for college. How about life insurance, guaranteed income solutions, all along with comprehensive planning? At RIA, a holistic approach to your money is our priority. Call us today, 855-RIA-PLAN, or find us online at realinvestmentadvice.com. Realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
Small businesses are discovering that attracting and retaining top talent come down to more than just salary. In today's highly competitive job market, compensation is more than just wages. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, RIA Advisors Retirement Plan Consultant. Healthcare and retirement plans can make the difference in hiring and retaining the best employees. We can show you how to build an affordable, effective employment package that delivers true value for your workers and your business. Call me toll-free at 855-RIA-PLAN or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Bulls win in bull markets. Bears win in bear markets. Eagles soar above and take advantage of opportunity. Let us help you soar as you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
Now, right out of Horror 101, mutant wolves have been roaming the human-free Chernobyl exclusion zone and have developed cancer-resilient genomes. Now, if that's not a movie in the making, I don't know what is.
So what would be the plot
They
on
have
this for you?
adapted and survived. Well, there would have to be some major mutant wolf that breaks away from Chernobyl and gets into the free world.
What does this wolf do with its superpowers?
I don't know, attends a football game with Taylor Swift. What position is she playing?
I saw
for
this
the
going a
Super-
different direction.
Yeah, me too. That's why I threw you off.
Man, if I have to hear her name again, why do people care so much?
It's pop culture, and the United States is
Yeah.
pop culture.
It's enough. Move on.
She's probably the best thing that has happened to football.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, they said the numbers have gone through the roof.
Right,
She's
because
brought a lot of
people are-
people who
Yeah.
never watching.
Now are watching.
Yeah.
So I think when she breaks up with this dude, I got the title for her new song, though.
But she's probably already written it.
You think so?
Yeah, of
Put it
course.
in the end zone or something like that.
Isn't every one of her songs about a breakup or
It is, yeah.
a mistake?
They're saying that he's going to propose at the... I don't see it.
I would just say that her choice in men, be careful of who she recommends.
You talking about presidents or...
I'm not saying.
It's like following
Listen,
Janet
the
Yellen
one-
for investment moves.
It is. No lie. That's a good one.
What are you trying to say, Danny? I know my friend Nancy's better at all this. I invested in toys.com.
But the one thing you do have to say about Taylor Swift, she's a great marketer. Those girls that follow her, I mean, she's a phenomenon. I mean, whatever she is, like we always try to figure out the formula for success, like how many followers you get and all this junk on social media, how many hits you get. It's like there's some luck element to it. There's some connect that she's got.
Oh, they're saying that she could sway a fifth of the population with how she votes, who she endorses, which is nuts. I'm not looking for anybody to
I
sway.
think most of her fans are like 9 years old. So
Yeah.
I'm not really worried about that at all because look at the percentage of young people who actually vote. I mean, yes, but I get your point. She can motivate actions.
Which, if that's what's going to be your overall driver.
But I think outside of the negativity about her, I mean, that's America. As much as she might not like it, that's what make the success, the way you're able to do these things, right? She gives money to charity, whatever it is because she's in the good old USA. Maybe she needs to appreciate that a little bit, like Toby Keith did, which was a big loss. That was terrible.
Yeah. 62.
Yeah, my dad had stomach cancer, died at 52. That is just so much of a death sentence. I mean, it's very much a challenge to overcome that. When I saw him perform, I was like, ooh, maybe he's in, you get this short period of remission, but that was definitely a loss. But, overall, you watching the Super Bowl?
So we we don't have a TV in the rental house.
Oh, okay.
really?
That's not a bad idea.
Which is, I have one, but we don't have it hooked up.
Okay.
And Michelle's kind of like, you know what? Don't do it.
Let's see what happens.
No, it's been great.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been
that's great.
been a bit, and it's been fantastic. Not that we watch a lot of TV to begin with.
No, but if the kids are like you said, you got to monitor everything.
Well, you got to monitor everything, and they don't watch a ton of TV. We just don't allow it. But it's taken away that, hey, can we watch TV? Can we watch TV type deal?
Now it's like we don't have one.
No. But it's great. They've been reading a ton of books, which they read a little bit anyways, or a bunch. But now I'd say they're reading a whole lot. They're spending time doing
next
things
step
that we'd prefer.
Danny's going to cut the electricity. They're rereading by candle.
Man, now you're talking.
Just like back in the olden days.
Yeah.
Little House on the Prairie.
I just got my electric bill from last month, and we had all these blowers in the house.
Yeah.
Like everything nonstop.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man. Yeah. I could cut it after this.
More like a little rental house on the prairie.
Yeah.
Well, all I'm saying is I'm not into sports. Not my thing. You all enjoy it. That's what America's
Will you watch
about.
this one?
No, I have no reason to.
Yeah.
I'll be reading a book or writing or something else.
The next day's a work day. We'll be sleeping.
I am always interested in the commercials. I have to tell you. Now, what they're saying is that Bud Light has done a 180.
The Clydesdales are back?
They said the Clydesdale with the dogs running in the snow and the Clydesdales running, and
I'm going to cry.
And I know I'm going to cry. Those were great commercials.
They are.
I want to see how they were. They were really great. So commercials always are fun, but you watch those. You can watch those the next day.
It's the Super Bowl of advertising.
It certainly is.
Bum, 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 bum.
But I'm sure we'll probably watch. We have family in town.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sure they'd like to. So I don't know. We'll see.
Better hook
I
up
don't have a dog in
TV.
the fight. I don't really care who wins or loses.
No. Mm-mm.
So
Let's see what the YouTube channel is going to be. Niners or Chiefs? Oh, that's who's playing, the Niners and the Chiefs?
Yeah. Welcome.
welcome to
are we still allowed
February.
2024.
Are we still allowed
Yeah.
are we still allowed to say Chiefs?
Oh.
Don't even go there.
Not now, Rich. Thank you.
All I'm saying is that she's got a formula that works. And so my girlfriend's daughter, Piper, she wants a Taylor Swift cake. And HEB is afraid of copyright infringement. But they make a cake now, and it looks like a sundial, like slivers of cake, and with all her albums along the side in icing. So it's young girls. Yeah, when I went to the movies, I can't remember what movie I saw, and the Taylor Swift movie was playing. The cutest thing, though, I have to admit, is seeing all these young girls wearing their little outfits, all excited. That part I sort of liked, like kids being kids, and she doesn't seem to sing anything totally outrageous enough like you would expect from some artists. So
There is that.
yeah,
And I think you touched on probably the key point, though. She is the epitome of the American dream gone right.
yes,
I mean, that's what everybody aspires to.
absolutely.
So bully for her.
That's what I say when people are all like, I can tell they're jealous. Oh my gosh, I don't like her. I don't find her. I don't like her. I'm not into her music,
No.
but I'm not her audience.
Yeah. Me.
But she does resonate with her audience, and she makes a lot of money doing it. If she wants to fly her jet, even though she's all, let her fly it.
That's what I
Fly
don't get.
your jet.
Hold on now, but here's the problem with most of this argument is that if 99% of the people who could afford a jet that complain about her, they would have a jet. They would get places quickly. You would expedite the process. Nobody likes flying commercial, number one.
Oh my gosh, when you hear some of the stories.
Oh man, no. So for most people that are going after her, get out of here. Because if you had the ability and the means, you would do the exact same thing.
Absolutely. Oh, I see what you mean. Absolutely.
So
You would do the same darn thing she's doing.
I can promise you I would do it.
I would promise you the same. Because you never know what you're up against on a commercial flight. The fact that they miss bolts, that's the least of your problems.
Well, no, but not only that.
The torn
I
of
mean,
people who can't hold in their bowels and all the other stuff you hear about on airplanes. I mean, it is a train wreck. You know, when I was a kid, when I was a youngin', you'd get all dressed up to go on a plane. It was like, what am I doing? Like you put on a suit and a tie, and it was like the airplane trip was part of the vacation. That was the adventure. Like, you know, you have the stewardess run, you know, if you can say that anymore. You went down the aisle in their little cart, and you have prime rib and all this stuff, and you look at it today and you go, what the heck happened?
would you like to buy some peanuts? Yeah, if I could stay off a commercial flight, I would. But no, and I get where you're going with it too, Rich. And everybody's going after. You know, I love how certain segments of the population who are flying around the world trying to make policy.
We get in the YouTube chat. It's like hitting the hive. It's like hitting the hive, and the bees are all.
Peter says, I don't know sports ball. I don't know who Swift is, but I bet he's fast.
Peter, I'm with you.
Peter wins the internet.
He does. I don't follow sports ball. Listen, I think sports are a big time suck. I understand, but I would rather be doing something productive. That's just me. I enjoy sometimes going to a game. I enjoy going to, like, say you go to Minute Maid Park. I mean, the ambiance I like. I like the crowds, the open space. I do like that part of it. I think that's pretty cool. So, yeah, but I agree with you, Danny. The people that are playing,
Look at her and her private jet.
yeah, she can afford it. She can afford more than one. She can afford 2, 3, 4. And if that's what she wants to do, and that makes her life easier, yeah, you would do the same thing. We got to get a whole book of Dannyisms. You would do the same damn thing, because you would.
Well, just the hypocrisy of it all on both sides,
a million
right?
dinosaurs a day in your little private jet.
No, you're not killing a million dinosaurs. Everybody acts. Never mind. I'm not even.
I'm just telling you what the argument.
Yeah, and it's dumb.
It is dumb. I think we're going to talk about money when we get back. Not really sure.
I hope.
Social Security, Medicare.
Medicare and the taxes implications today can hurt you in 2026.
Stand by, JP.
And everybody else. Peter, sports ball. We'll be right back.
The Real Investment Advice blog. It's required reading for the informed investor. Catch it today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Nothing sinks a marriage quicker than money issues. This Valentine's Day, promise you'll respect your lover's credit, communicate about your money, and share together our first candid coffee for 2024. 5 Money Habits of Unhappy Couples. Saturday, February 24th. Richard Rosso and Danny Ratliff will have money tips to help revive your financial harmony. Register now at realinvestmentadvice.com. 5 Money Habits of Unhappy Couples. Candid Coffee with Ratliff and Rosso. realinvestmentadvice.com.
Hi, Lance Roberts here. If you're like most people, your 401k plan represents the bulk of your retirement assets, and unfortunately for many, managing your 401k plan can be difficult. There's so many choices, so many things to consider. With just a quick email, a couple of questions, you can put RIA advisors to work for you managing your 401k plan. Just simply click Ask a Question at realinvestmentadvice.com or give us a call at 855-RIA-PLAN. That's realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Manage risk and volatility rather than trying to manage gains. You don't have to be right all the time. Long-term investing success is a 70% gain. Let us help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Can't catch the whole show now? Listen to our podcast later at realinvestmentadvice.com.
We sat down to watch the next episode of Reacher, and screen pops up and says, you're now going to experience ads during your show unless you want to pay an extra $2.95 a month. The mistake they're making is that all us old people, this is how we grew up with television.
The Real Investment Show podcast.
Always commercials. So, commercial in a television show, who cares? I'm not paying $2.95 to not have commercials. I don't care.
At realinvestmentadvice.com.
I get up and go to the bathroom during the commercial, come back, we're all good.
When it comes to wealth management, most people think of stocks and bonds, but it's like enjoying one layer in a 7-layer cake. At RIA Advisors, we want to make sure you get your cake and eat it too. Social Security, Medicare, creating a tax-friendly retirement paycheck. Perhaps you're saving for college. How about life insurance, guaranteed income solutions, all along with comprehensive planning. At RIA, a holistic approach to your money is our priority. Call us today, 855-RIA-PLAN, or find us online at realinvestmentadvice.com. realinvestmentadvice.com.
Real Investment Show podcasts are now available on iTunes. Listen anyplace, anytime at iTunes.com.
Health and financial security touches everyone within your organization. Offering benefits for all doesn't need to be complicated. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, Senior Benefits Consultant at RIA Advisors. RIA Benefits provides independent expertise to find solutions that speak to the mission of your business, the culture you want to establish, and the budget you are able to work within. Book a free consultation with me at realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, and we'll find a solution that takes care of your most important asset, your people. realinvestmentadvice.com/retirement, realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show YouTube channel has all our videos ready for your easy access, like Technically Speaking Tuesday, Financial Fitness Friday, plus each day's radio shows. Subscribe and bookmark our YouTube channel at realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
Just to upset JP on the YouTube channel, we're going to talk about Taylor Swift for another segment. We'll go through her balance sheet and cash flow statement, though. And the fact that she doesn't need Social Security. And I'm pretty sure she's maxing out on the threshold every year. And Irma is just going to be a name of one of her songs. But for you, yeah. But for the new year, you got to keep in mind, when you are on Medicare, you're always 2 years behind. Right? You have to remember that you can appeal your IRMAA. Now, remember what IRMAA is. It's an additional charge or surcharge on top of your base premiums, Part B and Part D, because of how much modified adjusted gross income that you have. So, yeah, notices that went out in November telling all Social Security and Medicare beneficiaries how much their new COLA-adjusted Social Security will be and how much it will be reduced by, one, if they're doing it that way, the people who have Part B taken out, right, their 2024 Part B. But if income in 2022 exceeded their 2024 IRMAA thresholds, that's $103,000 for single individuals and $206,000 for married couples, they will be charged the IRMAA.
Dagnabbit, I hate that damn IRMAA. She messed up my soup. She burns the bread. Now, you can appeal IRMAA. We always talk about, Danny and I, SSA-44. It has to be filed within 60 days of receiving that letter.
And the countdown starts 5 days after the date of the letter. And based on the U.S. Postal Service, you probably really have about 10 days to file it. Because by the time you get the letter. But
what's important about this is, I think, is
let's talk about the IRMAA, and what goes into that, because you might be very surprised what goes into the formula. Well, you might say, $206,000. I don't. That's a lot of money.
No big deal. Married, finally, jointly.
Yeah, but that's what goes into that.
I'll never get there. But here's the problem: is that
dag-nabbit formula.
Go ahead. Daddy's like, I'm gonna kill him. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Just making sure.
Yeah, I'm done.
I'm kidding. So I think the thing to think about with IRMAA, and this is why we talk about, not just about diversification of assets or funds, but like, where do you physically house them? What type of an account? Do you pay taxes now versus paying taxes later? I mean, Rich, how many people do you know that have done very well saving funds, but everything's been inside of that 401k or traditional IRA? They go to retire. They say, you know what? We're going to check off a bucket list item here. We want to buy a lake house, or we want to go do something, extravagant. We're taking
a nice
bigger
car.
trip.
I have a client that wanted to buy like a really nice.
I've never had a nice car. I want one
vintage
nice
car.
Yeah.
Right. From Gateway Motors, really cool site. Take a look at it with all their cool, amazing cars from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. We only had one place to take the money from, though.
And it's the IRA. Yeah. So this is why you need to think about, where do you put funds now? Because if you take a lot of money out, and in this instance, this example, somebody did
$75,000.
And today, well, this was way more. This is like $500,000-$600,000.
Oh yeah, that's saying, but even that took him
ended up with all the other expenses for the year, taking this person up to the full amount. So that would be like this year greater than over $750,000. So they had an additional $419.30 premium
on top of the Part B regular premium.
Correct.
We're not even talking about Part D.
So we're talking basically $600, $594, and it's not just, if you're married, it's not just for you; it's for you and your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
So now you start thinking, say, wow, $600. What is that? $7,200 a year times 2. That's just your Part B premium.
That's right.
Part D also has that.
Correct.
And then you still got to pay for your Medigap.
Right. Thank goodness Medigap doesn't have an IRMAA.
So this is where this can become problematic. Now, we've also seen this where somebody, maybe they had deferred comp, or they had other things come in, or they received a large severance package when they retired or were let go. There are ways. And so that form that Rich was just mentioning, SSA 44, allows you to appeal it. And so basically, if you have a life-changing event, say this is a one-time deal where I lost my job, I'm no longer working, income is completely, it's evaporated, not just gone, or not just declining, it's just gone. And here's the reason why.
Yeah, and it gives you life events that you need to check off.
Marriage, divorce.
Now, buying a house or buying a 1972 Tornado doesn't count as a life event.
That's right.
It should, but it doesn't. So SSA 44 becomes very, very important when you first retire. And you're no longer going to be making the income you were going to be making while working. I have very rarely seen any issues with it. You can appeal if you're late on sending the letter back. And I've seen the responses pretty generous when people are late. But keep this in mind. You may not realize this. So to Danny's point, diversification of accounts. As you get closer to retirement, if I had the ability to take $75,000 out of this gentleman's accounts, I would look at where he is in his tax brackets, his average, his effective rate, but mostly his marginal, where he was in his marginal rates, and I would figure out how much I would pull from his IRA, how much I possibly would pull from Roth, and how much I would pull from brokerage, which would not even nudge the needle on taxes and the IRMAA equation. That is the beauty, because when you get into harvesting mode or decumulation mode, it's very important to manage your taxes. Because of all these backdoor taxes, you are not going to fall into the lowest tax bracket. your Social Security is taxed enough to where even if you think you're in the 12% bracket, you're really in the 22% bracket. So you've got to be understanding, and this is now all of a sudden, Danny, we've been talking about it for years. Now with the Secure Act and everything almost I see on TV, it's Roth. Everybody now is on a Roth bandwagon. Roth 401k, all good. But you want to appeal the IRMAA if it is a one-time event. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do it. Now, you got to look for SSA 1099. That's a form you're going to get. That's the amount of benefits you paid in 2023 for tax reporting purposes. So the amount in box 5 is going to give you full amount of Social Security paid, minus any benefits repaid to Social Security, right? Then you have to look at whose income, when you got income plus half of Social Security. Because keep in mind, when Social Security is taxed, you go, okay, what goes into that, what we call provisional, or that modified adjusted
Oh,
gross?
yeah, this is a fun one.
Yeah, right? So, okay, if I'm in excess of $34,000 in income or $44,000 joint, then 85% of my Social Security could be taxable. Wait, what goes into this? My municipal tax income? I get federally tax-free income from my municipal bonds. That goes into the equation?
Half your Social Security goes into the equation?
Like a mother bird regurgitating for her baby birds? I'm going to see it again? Part of my Social Security is going into the equation? Diabolical Frankenstein type of formula? Obviously, money coming out of you, say you're working a part-time job, that's given. Income that comes out, ordinary income tax from your IRA. So most people, whether they like it or not, are going to be taxed on their Social Security. So you got to look at, especially new Social Security beneficiaries, how much should you prepay in taxes? You could do voluntary withholding or tax payments. So this is Form W4V. You can have 4 different rates. You could do 7, 10, 12, 22%. And people go, wait a minute, what? And that's applied to the entire amount, not the 85% that's taxable. So you're a high-income client. You're like, we have high income, people that make pretty good incomes in retirement. They go, well, how much should I withhold? I tell them, you have to withhold the max from Social Security, and that still may not be enough. And that's when Danny, this is when people get hit with it and understand the realization. They go, I feel like I paid into this system, and now I'm paying taxes on it again, that I need to have withholding taken from my Social Security? Yes. That is a tax impact that you wouldn't have, because in the provisional income formula, Roth is not included. Now, maybe in 30, 40 years it will. Maybe they'll say the earnings on Roth would be. But for the most part, no. So if I have mostly Roth accounts, I have a client that has mostly Roth, and he's going to take income from a permanent life insurance policy.
Oh, we haven't gotten to that in a while.
So I know, but his overall income is going to be about $90,000.
Tax-free.
From the Social Security perspective, especially.
Yeah.
$90,000 plus the max of Social Security, not taxed 1 penny in retirement. And that is retirement nirvana right there. Very cool. When nobody was investing in Roth, he said, I'm doing this. I get it. Taxes
Good for
are
him.
going on. Yeah, I thought, you're the man. We'll be back.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Nothing sinks a marriage quicker than money issues. This Valentine's Day, promise you'll respect your lover's credit, communicate about your money, and share together our first candid coffee for 2024. 5 Money Habits of Unhappy Couples. Saturday, February 24th. Richard Rosso and Danny Ratcliffe will have money tips to help revive your financial harmony. Register now at realinvestmentadvice.com. 5 Money Habits of Unhappy Couples. Candid coffee with Ratcliffe and Rosso. realinvestmentadvice.com.
Small businesses are now being challenged by the lack of employees and how to attract and recruit the best employees. To get the better employee, you'll have to offer a better package. Hi, I'm Tom Allen, RIA Advisors Retirement Plan Consultant. Don't assume a 401k plan is too costly or complicated for your small business to offer. Let us show you how to make the most of an affordable and effective plan that will deliver true value for your business and your employees. Call me toll free at 855-RIA-PLAN or online at realinvestmentadvice.com. That's realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
When it comes to wealth management, most people think of stocks and bonds, but it's like enjoying one layer in a 7-layer cake. At RIA Advisors, we want to make sure you get your cake and eat it too. Social Security, Medicare, creating a tax-friendly retirement paycheck. Perhaps you're saving for college. How about life insurance, guaranteed income solutions, all along with comprehensive planning? At RIA, a holistic approach to your money is our priority. Call us today, 855-RIA-PLAN, or find us online at realinvestmentadvice.com. realinvestmentadvice.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. A passive investment portfolio requires active risk management. It's not a choice, it's necessity. Diversification doesn't protect against risk of loss. Let us actively help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
So in 2024, you have to plan for 2026 IRMAA, right? Will you be able to keep your modified adjusted gross income plus tax-exempt interest below that first IRMAA threshold? Now, we don't know what those thresholds are, but we do know you probably can increase it by at least 5 to 7%. So that may be 108 to 206,000, right? So you might avoid the IRMAA, but more and more people are finding it difficult to do that, especially if you are doing Roth conversions. Sometimes that really hurts people, but I try to, when we run our analysis, we show them, listen, it's a little pain now for benefits later, because what we find in the analyses is that your IRMAA will spike, but then what we're trying to do is over your lifetime in retirement is even it out. Now, you may never be at the bottom threshold. Maybe you're at the first tier. But at least we control that. We can control where IRMAA goes. But when people are doing big Roth conversions, they understand it's a little painful up front. And when you do an analysis, that's already accounted for in the process. But then when you do Roth conversions, there's something called the 5-year rule. And Danny, like you said, it's a little nebulous, so people don't really have a good grasp. And I think the government does a lousy job explaining it. But what exactly is this 5-year rule when it comes to Roth?
Well, let's be frank. I think a lot of people just don't quite understand it because, number one, like you mentioned, the government does a poor job of
explaining it. And it makes no sense. It's
and
an arbitrary
advisors
rule.
in general, I don't think do a good enough a job explaining this. Mm-hmm. So that 5-year rule, or what people would typically, we also call it seasoning, meaning that there's a period of time that these funds, once you do a conversion or put funds into a Roth, they have to be in this account for you to make these tax-free withdrawals. But one thing that has failed to be mentioned over and over again is that that's on your earnings. So if you put $10,000 in and it went up to 11, you made 10%. You could still take funds out. You cannot take out your interest. So you could not deplete the whole account in that before that 5-year period.
So you're saying your contributions, well, that's why sometimes advisors treat this like a emergency savings account, right?
Correct.
Which makes no sense.
Which we don't like because we don't like that leakage.
Right.
But it's taxed. So the way that they look at this, when anything that we have, you look at it from a taxation perspective, is what we would call LIFO or FIFO. Last in, first out, first in, first out. On a Roth, it is FIFO. Mm-hmm. So meaning first in, first out. meaning your conversion or principal that you put in would be considered first in.
So if I have 10,000 in a Roth and now it's 20, I can take 10.
Correct.
Because it's going to be my contributions. I'm not saying you should. But you got to be careful because that clock is ticking on the 10,000 that you've made.
For that 5-year period.
For that 5-year period. Right.
Now, typically when we advise people to put funds into the Roth, we do want to have some runway before you start making distributions.
Yeah,
because the beauty of this is you've just paid taxes.
Yep.
But now these funds are going to go tax-free, so you've got to give it some time to recoup the amount lost from taxes. But over a longer period of time, especially if, number one, this tax code sunsets, which we know in 2026, if nothing is done, we're going to revert back to the old tax code, meaning brackets will condense and the numbers will be a little bit, the rates will be higher.
Yes.
So
when we're putting money in Roth, we're looking longer term. And sometimes we're looking at multiple life expectancies.
That's right.
Because it is a legacy asset.
And that's
especially
not talked
for
about enough.
non-spouses. It's not. It comes up, like Ed Slott, who's a great tax advisor. He'll talk about that quite a bit, but it doesn't. So let's just delve a little bit into that as to why it's become even more important of an estate planning or legacy tool.
Yeah, so Secure Act 2.0 made some changes with how RMDs, required minimum distributions for beneficiaries, have to be done. Now, previously, if you had a non-spousal beneficiary, so number one, if you're married, you pass, your IRA funds or retirement accounts can be assumed by your spouse. If you have a non-spousal beneficiary, then historically they've been able to take required minimum distributions over their lifetime. There's a couple caveats, but we're going to look at 30,000 feet.
Sure.
Now, the new rule is that you need to take a required minimum distribution each year, but the numbers have changed, and it has to be completely liquidated by the end of year 10. So if you have a traditional IRA and maybe your children or your heirs, maybe they're younger and they're in their peak earnings years.
Yeah, you might really create a tax heartache for them.
Correct. So now you lose that tax control or the control that you would have had where, you still have to take some, but it's typically minimal.
I say heartache for one reason, because paying taxes really hurts me in the heart.
Oh, man, no doubt.
Especially lately.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you have that Roth, taxes have been paid, right? We can't do that, what we used to call a stretch IRA, where you try to stretch it over numerous lives. Now we have that window that you have to get the funds out. But the Roth will still require you to take an RMD, but it comes out tax-free. So there's some great benefit into something like this.
There is. There also is, if, say, for example, you have a long-term care event, say you're in your 80s, retired in the 60s, it's 20 years. And now if you start pulling money out of your IRA, you're going to wind up paying more taxes at a time when you really don't. That money could come in handy tremendously, especially if you're self-insuring. And that Roth money could be really good for long-term care expenses because, again, at least I know I'm not going to have my Social Security taxed. I'm going to be pushed into a higher bracket.
That's right.
All of this because I need, with the long-term care expenses, I need every dollar to work for me. So if you're going to live for a longer period of time, and most people are, then Roth could work. Now, for younger people, we say Roth 401k. If you're 10 years from retirement, 5 years from retirement, you may not want to do a Roth conversion because, oh gosh, I'm already in a higher tax bracket. Okay, I get it. Well, all you have to do is shut off your contributions to your traditional 401k, turn on Roth 401k. Yeah, you're going to pay more in taxes every year, but you're a human capital earnings machine. You can do it.
Well, I had that conversation with somebody yesterday, in fact, and so they've been putting the majority of their funds into the pre-tax,
like
401k,
which is what people
just
are told.
traditional, yeah. And putting a very, very small percentage, like actually 1%, into the Roth.
At least they were doing something.
What do you think? I said, well, I need to jump into the numbers, dive into this a little bit more because number one, I want to understand exactly where your taxes are, where your tax codes looking at, are you using a standard deduction? Are you itemizing? We need to go a little bit deeper here. And it's somebody who is going to retire here very shortly. So while I love the idea of this, but also you have to consider, what are your expenses on the back end of this? Are you going to be in a lower tax bracket? Then maybe it makes sense that we do a conversion in a couple years. Instead, you put the pre-tax in now, high income earner, and then later down the road when you have no other income coming in, we've got a little more flexibility.
Yeah.
So
before required minimum distributions hit, which say would be 72. Or 73.
73 now. Yeah.
I mean, they're going to graduate up to
2033, go to 75.
Right.
So there's a lot of considerations that you need to take into account when thinking about where do you put these funds. But as you mentioned, Rich, I think if you're young, Roth all the way. Just, I don't think there's much question.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And there's no income limitations on the Roth 401k.
Yes, not a Roth IRA where you're subject, right? You are able to do the same thing you're doing. It's just one side of the same coin. Roth 401k traditional. And by the way, in a couple of years, if your adjusted gross income is $145,000 or more, and you make catch-up contributions,
they're going to get you anyways.
They're going to put you into Roth anyway. The government wants their money now. J.G. Wentworth, we've been calling that for years.
So that's actually in effect now, but they have not rolled it out.
They can't roll it out, yeah.
Logistics, right? So what they say, 2026 it has to be done by?
Right.
Yeah. But not a bad thing either.
I think it's great. I think the Rothification and Secure Act 2.0, and I rarely say anything good coming from mostly the government, this is a good idea. Now, the government being so myopic, who knows what they do in 40 years? Wait a minute, what did we do? But for now, your retirement, probably your children's, you're going to be fine because the fatted calf is pre-tax. That's where the money is. That's what they want to tackle. That is why they took the non-spousal inherited IRA distributions and neutered it. I mean, that's why, to give them cash.
Well, if you look at everything that they've done here recently, number one, we understand where the deficits are. Lance, Mike talk about this regularly on the show. We write about it at realinvestmentadvice.com. You have questions, you want to learn a little bit about what's going on, that is a conveyor belt of information. But you need to think about, with that problem continuing, what will likely happen later down the road. We're likely going to have to see higher taxes, which is why we've seen them roll out these new, everybody was concerned the Roth was going to go away.
Right.
All legislation suggests the complete opposite because they're like, we need this right now.
How many times did we say, even before the Secure Act 2 and Secure Act, they have to actually encourage Roth.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. And I think actually it's a good idea. Hey, listen, 5 Money Habits of Unhappy Couples, Saturday, February 24th. Great tips on how to make your marriage stronger. Or if your children are getting married, they should attend this. Sign up at realinvestmentadvice.com. You all have a great weekend. Lance back on Monday. We love you. You YouTube people, you drink too much coffee. I love you.